Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? It is August 13th, 2020, and sorry I wasn't able to upload another video yesterday. I spent about 12 hours working on that video just about all the power outages with these deratios and how they continue to repeat over and over again that these are rare, which they should be, but they're not when they're manipulating them and modifying these storms and literally, targeting certain places, okay? And what's the number one place we know that they're targeting? Okay, it's your food, your crops, and then what else? They're trying to, do all these power outages. They're being able to put up all these brand new poles, these brand new lines, so that definitely applies with FIVEG and just being able to put you in situations that you don't want to be in to where then you need their help. Okay, that's why being prepared, at least having a plan for these things is so important to me. But let's get into a few of these articles. Okay, this one was from yesterday, and it says, deratio damage in Iowa, flattened crops spotted in impressive satellite images. 2 distinct image swaths were spotted after winds clocked 100 miles an hour. Check this out. I got a better look of it right here. This will show you. Okay. Yeah, right here you can see. Watch right in the center of the screen. Look at that. That is just insane, the difference from here all the way to there and then up here. And you are talking just miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of corn that was just completely destroyed, and that was what the plan was with this. You think it's a coincidence that these things hit right as harvesting was about to, start happening? They were literally just about to do your fall harvest, and then here, look at this. Monday's deratio damaged 10 million acres of crops in Iowa. You thought I was kidding when I said miles and miles? Yeah, 10 million acres of crops in Iowa. 600,000 still without power, It says more than 600,000 customers remained without power Wednesday in the Midwest due to the powerful deratio that roared across the region on Monday. Iowa was especially hard hit as the potent windstorm devastated the state's power grid and flattened valuable cornfields. Oh yeah, so not only does it hurt your food supply, our food supply, it also is just attacking these farmers again. Every time they try to get, back on top, start getting things going their way, bam, they get hit again. And you want to know that what's that? It's just crushing their economy. It's crushing the small economies. I mean, these farmers live year to year, season to season. When they have something like this happen, it's devastating, and it doesn't stop. They've been getting hit like this over and over every year for the last couple of years, whether it's flooding or hail, whatever it is. So officials said full recovery from the storm will take several weeks. The storm had up to 112 mile per hour winds near Cedar Rapids, Iowa, as powerful as an inland hurricane. Okay, and I started seeing this in all of the different articles. They are continuously calling it, comparing it to an inland hurricane, and I believe that is on purpose because you look at the so-called, hurricane that just hit the Northeast, okay? Tropical storm, whatever you want to call it. That was identical to what just hit out west, okay, or out hit in the Midwest. But I think that's why they're trying to mix the two. You know how they blur the lines with, the flu and CV, all the symptoms. Well, that's the same thing here, right? If they can blur the lines enough to where they can just say it was a deratio that came through and devastated it, then they can, get away with it more, because then they don't have to have a hurricane hit the center of the United States or, the west or the east. It doesn't matter. They can just say it's one of these things. They can just cook up one of these types of storms instead of trying to always have to use these hurricanes, which they're going to use. They use every disaster. It says, as it tore from eastern Nebraska across Iowa and parts of Wisconsin, Indiana, and Illinois, including Chicago and its suburbs. Oh yeah, it just devastated so many areas, It's just crazy. It said early estimates say the ratio flattened at least 1/3 of Iowa's crops, about 10 million acres, according to Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds. In addition, tens of millions of bushels of grain that were stored at co-ops on farms were damaged or destroyed as the bins blew away. Yeah, I showed a couple of that, those pictures in my video yesterday. They just destroyed them, and everything that was in them got destroyed. And then not only that, they won't have them to use them to try to, if they were going to try to pick up whatever they could from what was left over from this storm to store it, they wouldn't even be able to do that. It said, and it rocked Marshalltown, Iowa, where an EF3 tornado destroyed the town's business district just 2 years ago. See, they just continuously get hit. With winds of 99 miles per hour, Monday's storm damaged some businesses that had recently recovered, even damaging the scaffold being used to repair the historic courthouse dome. Can you believe that? They just get it going, they just get it back, and then bam. That's why I said you are being targeted. That's the thing. They're getting targeted. And look at this, okay? Let's just keep going. I'll leave the links in the description so you can check out these full articles. But look at this. Isn't something that's just going to stop, okay? This was the following day after the derecho that went through, okay? In Denver, power outages, tree damage reported after dry microburst hits South Denver. Several people in South Denver reported powerful, abrupt wind gusts just after 12 p.m. on Tuesday. The National Weather Service in Boulder received a report that a large blue spruce tree fell onto a car about 4 miles northwest of Cherry Creek State Park. CBS 4 photojournalist Robert Sanchez found 2 large trees in the picture below knocked onto homes in the 1900 block of South Clarkston Street. Is this image getting to be normal to you? Are you starting to realize that this is a normal thing now? Over and over, every storm that's hitting is destroying the trees. You think maybe that... I think that has multiple reasonings too, okay? I know these trees are being affected by your FIBEG and obviously with all of the chemicals that are being dumped on them, okay? So it's making them more brittle, but these ones are being ripped out of the roots. Well, that's what happens when you flood out areas and you dump the amount of rain that they do on these places. But the trees are going down everywhere. Now, just remember, what did they say about FIBEG, that it couldn't what? Oh, that's right, go through the trees, so that they needed to have a small cell every so often. Well, do you think now that all these destroyed trees, all these trees getting knocked down, don't help? That now can be transferred, larger distances because, the trees are now out of the way in so many areas. You just have to realize that this is not just a, single attack. These are over and over and over again. It says a number of people on Twitter reported power outages just after the wind reports showed 3,000 customers without power. See? And they'll just hit you like this. One little city, and if I'm not looking for this, and nobody's going to know about it except for the people that are in that area, right? Same thing that if it happened up here in my town, nobody knows about if our power was out for, 2 days or a day or even a couple hours. Nobody's going to know unless you're looking for it. That's how they're going to do this. And listen to how they always explain it. A microburst happens when a thundershower or thunderstorm is trying to develop, but the air near the ground is too dry to support it. Several thousand feet up where the clouds are it as often raining, but that water evaporates when it falls into the drier air below. Because the evaporation is a cooling process, the evaporated rain leaves a pocket of colder air suspended above the ground. Since colder air is more dense than the surrounding air, it rushes to the ground and often catches people off guard. Since there is no precipitation involved at the ground, it is called a dry microburst. So not only now are they having these massive thunderstorms, these, derechos, you have all these tropical storms, these hurricanes, now they even have it where it can just be a massive wind just going to come in and there's going to be nothing. Sunny, beautiful, and bam, you're just going to get knocked out with wind. Do you see how they continue to, plant the seeds? So if something happens, they can say, well, yeah, we told you that's called a dry microburst. It's just... you just got to really pay attention to this stuff. Let's keep going. And like this too. It's just, everywhere I looked, it only took me a couple minutes. I just picked out a few, of the power outages. Electrical substation fire in Youngstown causes power outage. The substation is 120 years old. There we go, right? So there's another reason why, this one got knocked out, And look at this. I found this. This was ahead of the tropical storm that just came in. It says Puerto Rico's power grid feels hours ahead of potential arrival of tropical storm. That blew me away. I'm going, why would that happen like that? Literally right before this storm comes in, that there's something there, And it says, a day before potential tropical storm Isaias was expected to bring rains and winds to Puerto Rico. At least 400,000 customers throughout the island were left without power. See? And the outage affected multiple municipalities from cities in the metropolitan area such as San Juan and Guanabo to the mountainous towns coastal towns also. You know, it went from mountainous towns to the everything. You know, it was all widespread, and it's just like, what are the odds of this happening? You know, I'd like, you know, to hear your comments. Do you think maybe that they, you know, they use up that type of energy to build these storms? You know, do they draw power and it sucks out stuff like this, or are they just, you know, once again knocking out power to these people that are so vulnerable down in Puerto Rico? I mean, look what they did with Hurricane Maria. They're still just trying to get through day-to-day life since that hurricane went through. You know, and it just seems like these are just normal stories, you know. And then I did tell you this. This is where they lead it, okay? This is how they can lead you in a direction, right? Okay, you thought you're all good, you're in your house, everything's fine. Oh, well, then it becomes 95, 100 degrees outside. They knock your power out, and what are you going to do? Obviously, you're going to now need to go to one of, you know, if you're elderly or, you know, don't have any other family, they have these shelters or charging stations in works in Cedar Rapids, Marion, as power outages continue. See? I mean, this is just going to be over and over again the same thing. You know? Well, now these people can go to it, you know? And it's just crazy. You know, it says the last 24 hours have been focused mostly on life safety, addressing natural gas leaks, building collapses, and structure fires. Yep, but see, you know, there is no cost of the estimated damage, he said. While city workers clean up the immediate tree debris and damage, Smith said it will take several weeks to clean the tree debris, not accounting for trees that fell on private properties. It's going to be millions and millions and millions of dollars. And what do you know? More trees fall, right? Everywhere the trees are being taken out. I think that is something we all need to pay attention to as well. I don't think it's a coincidence that they said with FIBEG that it needed, you know, it couldn't go through the trees, that it needed to go around the trees, you know? Well, now they're knocking out the trees everywhere. And when everything happens, what do they tell you to do? Oh, go down to these charging stations. Just come on in. We got, you know, we got air conditioning, these cooling stations, you know, and we got, you know, plenty of plugs for you to plug in all your, you know, because you got to have your, you know, your cell phones. You got to have all your electronics, right? Because you got to make sure you can still be able to pay attention to their CV nonsense and the fear that they push every single day. When really the one thing you should be worrying about is them and the government themselves, what they're doing, how they're taking out areas is just horrible, you know. But then, where do they end go? Okay, I found this to be very, very, you know, telling. Mayor de Blasio airs government takeover of Con Edison in wake of power outages. Right? So they're coming out saying how bad the power companies did. They didn't respond. They were not there when they should have been there. And even once they were there, they weren't taking care of what they needed to do. You know, it's been over a week, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, some places where they're still out of power or just getting their power back, you know, from the so-called tropical storm that came through, okay, which was just pretty much just massive tornadoes in areas. You know, it was just pretty much exactly what just went through. It was just like a derecho. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying. They're manipulating these storms. Whatever type of storm it is, they're still manipulating it. But now the government is going to take over. So you see how they do that? They say, oh, look, well, they didn't do a good job. All of our power companies didn't do a good job. So we're going to take over because the government cares about you. And they're going to, you know, take over, and we'll make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen. Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd rather most of the time have it still left in private companies' hands. Now, it all depends, because we look at like PG&E and all those. We know how horrible they are, and what, you know, most of these companies are already controlled by, you know, these powers that be. Anyway, so really it doesn't make a difference. But the point is how they're putting it in the mainstream. You know how they're using it. So that's what I'm trying to get to. They're using it again. Oh, look how bad they did. The government cares about you. We'll take over. Trust the government. Trust us. We will do it. You know, it's just the same circle of things over and over and over again, okay? You know, I hope everybody has a good day. We're going to cut this short right here. I'll leave the links to all these in the description so you can check them out. And I got a couple more videos I'm working on. I hope I can get them out today. And I hope you enjoyed the video about the derechos. Took a lot of time, but I thought it was very important, because when they're saying rare, repeating that over and over again, extremely rare, and we've had 6 or 7 already, you know, in a few months. You know, I think people need to pay attention to that, because, you know, they're killing people. You know, each one of those storms killed somebody. You know, it's sad, you know, so we just need to be paying attention, making a plan and being ready the best that we can. So I love you all. Continue to pray against all this that's going on right now. Prayer is more powerful than you could ever imagine, and just being able to, help a family, help your friends, help your neighbors, it does make a difference. So we'll talk to you soon. You all have a great day. God bless.